Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Engineering the Market. Looks like audio is all good, and we are set for another week inside of the equities market. So, welcome back. Hopefully, you had a great weekend. As always, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market, and it is April 4th, 2022. So, welcome to the first full week of April. Looking back at last week, and as always, starting off our week with the S&P 500 index, we're going to take a look at the expected move from last week and talk about sort of how the quarter ended, along with the upcoming week ahead that we're about to face. So, looking at last week, we had an expected move of approximately, give me a second, find my mouse. We were looking at an expected move of approximately 88 points. And our actual move from Friday's close to the highest print was approximately 94. So very mild overall breach. But as we saw on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the market actually pulled in from this mild upside breach and closed the week relatively flat. So what this looks like on our weekly perspective is we do have a bit of a topping tail candle on the S&P. It looks as if, at least in the short term, our daily consolidation is underway. And then, of course, our weekly rally, which the weekly really gives it perspective here, is starting to just run out of that initial momentum. We've seen massive recovery from the lows. We were looking to see where the S&P was going to start providing some short-term resistance. And it does appear to have occurred near these upper bounds from last week. Now, shifting ahead into this, we're looking at an expected move this week. Once again, full week, nothing of high interest except for a couple of calendar events. Of about $75. So $74.88 is our actual expected move on the week. What I want to continue pulling out is these expected moves are based upon the weekly option market pricing of movement volatility or price volatility. And as we've seen this rally come from a period of high vol into a period of low vol, the S&P is going to reflect those changes inside of the expected move. So a real simple way to see this is looking at the VIX. We did see larger sell-off from VIX from the 30 print, and currently we're sitting right around 20. This would be indicative of another potential move to the upside if the VIX were to see some rationale or reason for that uptick. But as we've climbed, the S&P candles, intraday especially, have gotten more narrow. And this is sort of a good thing to keep in mind. If you were trading anywhere in the S&P during the time frame of February and March, you might have been very accustomed after a certain period of acceptance that the S&P could move about 10 points in a day. So the SPY anywhere from $10, the SPX, we'll just call it 100 points total, given that this is 10 times the S&P ETF. That is starting to change as we are looking at this final sort of buy-up swing that we're starting to run into upper resistance. The expansion of these daily candles getting a bit more narrow. I would say that on average, we're looking at anywhere from about 5 to 7 points on most days. And outside of a couple of outlier days, Thursday was an example of one of those outliers, you're often looking for smaller price targets. So if you are trading in the S&P products, ES futures, whatever your poison looks like, just understand that with vol contraction comes range contraction. on the intraday time frame. What we're seeing is just smaller price candles, and that leads us to more acceptable targets in regards to looking at trending days or even looking to get to certain price levels by the intraday time frame. Now, as we are starting the week, we'll want to maybe look at what are some upcoming things this week that may be of concern or to at least have on our calendar moving into April. Let's see, I have a filter here. That filter. There we go. So when I took a look at the calendar for the week, outside of some additional PMI data coming out, there's ISM Service Index. Those are mostly things that we'll see announced in the pre-market prep timeframe. We'll look at the reaction. We'll kind of trade that as needed, especially if there are any surprises or unexpected readings from those data drops. The one that I'm going to be focused on, and I think a lot of people should maybe keep an eye on, is the FOMC minutes occurring on Wednesday at and this is Central Time, so I believe this should be 2 o'clock Eastern. So are we having excuse me, are we having some sound issues? Just double checking. Want to make sure that that's not a persistent thing. A couple of sound issues. Okay. This might be on my end. I may have to double check. I did a little bit of changing in the hardware side over the weekend, but let's kind of look at this week as a bit of a lower potential for unexpected data drop, except for the FOMC. That is certainly something that we'll want to keep an eye on. We'll want to determine whether there's any updates or surprises coming out from the Fed in regards to rate hikes or balance sheet reduction, all of which should be in effect and something that we're going to be experiencing more and more as we move forward. Give me 1 second here. I need to look at something. I'm seeing some flickering on my webcam as well. I'm not going to touch anything, but I think we're just having a little bit of a blip in some of the technical setup here. Okay, so we'll look at that more as the week goes on. We'll look at some of the jobless claims coming up on Thursday. We'll continue to monitor specific data drops as they move through the week. But overall, earnings season is pretty much over. We're going to be waiting for future earnings coming out later in April. And that's going to sort of kick off with the financials. And that should be approximately starting back up in about a week and a half. So, maybe the initial drops are going to be something like Delta Airlines, Fast, and all that, but the banks really kick it off on April 13th and 14th. So we don't really have a lot of earnings risk coming up this week. We have limited data risk in regards to new economic data getting released, but the FOMC minutes on Wednesday are going to be one to maybe keep an eye on and watch. So if we shift back over to the S&P, let's talk about where we're located and maybe some ways to play in a marketplace that has had such a strong lower bound recovery and such a massive move to the upside. Wow, my webcam's getting spottier, at least on my end. I'm gonna try a quick webcam reset. This is getting worse on my end, and I can start to see it on the feed. Give me 1 second here. No, it's still looking pretty spotty. Okay, this might be something I'll have to resolve after. I apologize for the yeah, the feed's really bad. Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna just turn my webcam off and hopefully I can resolve that. So we are without visual, but that's okay. We still got audio. So let's just take a look at the S&P. Let's talk about the recovery that we've had. And I think this week, one thing to maybe kind of drive into a little bit more is sectors. So I think the theme this week should be focused on sector performance. We're looking at a new quarter. So at the beginning of April, it can be advantageous to see where is bigger money moving in regards to sector performance in general, maybe week to week. And then, of course, on the intraday, having some of those techniques that we've been applying in regards to what sectors are strong on the day and what is the expectation if a certain sector is up, down, or even relatively strong or weak to other sectors. So one good question to ask is, where did the S&P close on the quarter? So what you can do is pull up something like a quarterly time frame. You aggregate over a quarter. You maybe look over 5 years to get more than just a couple candles. And you start to see that the S&P did have a quarter of volatility, but we were able to close within range of the previous quarter. And that's obvious in regards to we didn't lose last quarter's low. We tested it, and we did get bought back up based on the March, I would say, corrective bounce in the S&P. We can also do things like looking price as percentage and kind of see maybe over the past 5 years, in this case, what is the S&P performance? What kind of volatility did the last quarter have? And one good way to kind of narrow this down is look at something like year to date, where the S&P in this case started the year, and it looks like it narrowed it down to just the optics time frame. We'll just do a month here. So we'll just look at the past 3 months. So, you know, starting from beginning of year, the S&P did perform lower, but we saw such a strong recovery off the lows. Sorry, this is not right. I should be measured from here. Why is this starting high? Okay, it's taking the low here, or the close of this candle. That's not what I wanted. Let's see if I can. Well, okay, that's not working out the way I expected, so I'm not gonna drill into it too much. Let's go back to our normal view. Okay, so last quarter was volatile, but we did close within the previous quarter. So relative to other assets, we had a underperforming quarter, but we haven't necessarily given back everything from last year's quarter. Secondly, when we look at just our monthly candles, we talked about how last month was such a strong recovery that we were able to slightly reach above February, and of course close well within near that 450 print. Very similar sort of up and down volatility from February if we look at it just from candle to candle, as we saw similar lows, and in this case, similar highs. But obviously, because we are in the moment and we are looking at things that have happened recently as we shift into the weekly, we're looking at the corrective wave that occurred off the low. What drove that wave to the top side, and what was, I would say, bigger money moving into in regards to shifting allocations, what was outperforming versus underperforming. And then, of course, as we look at the shortest time frame here, our daily, what can we expect moving forward? What are some techniques and sectors to focus on in regards to if we see the same thing reoccurring or if we see a shift? And those are going to be important notes for us to carry forward if we are seeing more and more active sector performance day in and day out. So one way to do this is what we've often done, and that's where we look at our sector ETFs. Now, the S&P 500 or the SPDR ETFs are composed of about 11 major ETFs. These are going to represent the S&P sectors. And when we look at something like fundamentals on the SPY, what we're essentially doing is looking at ETFs that represent these overall sectors. We have an IT sector, or technology is what we just kind of classify it as. We have healthcare, consumer discretionary, or sometimes cyclical, financials, communications, which is kind of an interesting addition as of late, but is still a very important and highly weighted sector. Industrial staples, and then as we get down to the lower area, we have things like energy, real estate, utilities, and materials. So these are all conversations we've had in the past. We know that there are standout sectors, the ones that hold more relative weight. And we also know that there are sectors currently that are not heavy hitters S&P, but they are in a period of outperformance. For example, the easiest one to pull up right now would be energy. And energy has had a very strong relative uptrend compared to other areas of the market. We saw clear breakouts occurring at the beginning of the year, sort of an expansive gap up and a move away from swing highs. The energy market continued to trend as it pulled into things like the 20 period. And then, of course, what we're dealing with currently is we have a bit of a parabolic setup here that so far has not been resolved bullish quite yet. Maybe a bit of indecisive price action with some wilder sell swings, especially from that high. And then currently this is essentially getting into a point of compression to where whatever decision here is probably going to set up the next short-term trend. So energy is one of those classic trending markets where the strategy over the past quarter was to essentially be long and to find ways to get exposure to the long side. One of the simplest things to do is to think like a trend trader and to essentially say that pullbacks in this market, as long as you have the right risk definition in your strategy, are often going to facilitate higher highs. So as a trend trader, you would want to identify where are demand buyers, i.e. pullback buyers, located in this market. What is an upcoming trend line that I could start to monitor and manage my risk against? And using these simple techniques as a technical analyst, identifying when to establish long bias risk, because it is an uptrending market. And then from that point, all you're doing is monitoring and maybe managing against higher time frame levels. For example, the energy market has ran into a monthly, or in this case, sort of a yearly area of some pretty significant resistance. Now, it's not to say that this is going to be the case and going to push the prices down moving forward, but it is an area that the energy market has had some trouble getting through. And these techniques may have allowed you to change your strategy on the most recent pullback. Instead of maybe looking at buying something and settling for a new swing high, you instead might have just been playing a lower high extension, or not allowing for something like call premium to be held and sort of degrade over time with the expectation that we're going to break 80. So when I look at a market like this and just kind of think about technique, we start to envision how this can be applied, whether it be a stock or other sectors, and just narrowing into this particular sector's candidates or the stocks that comprise the ETF. So once again, just looking at the outperformers from this quarter, we have, of course, CVX and XOM, the two largest components of the XLE. And then we have some of our standouts that have been day trading candidates. Oxy, for example, has given us plenty of intraday range to take advantage of. It actually moves pretty well in this upper bound, even though currently we're looking at a swing high with a lack of follow through, bit of an upper channel the market is starting to structure. And there's been just these periods of performance where if you're in the energy market on the right day, maybe when crude is up on the session, and if you're looking at the right stocks, these have had intraday opportunity. They often facilitate things like trend days, where you start in the morning, maybe have a mild pullback, and then, of course, you never look back as the market trends to the upside and closes near the high. So these are things that, as a sector analyst or someone who's maybe observing relative strength in the energy market, all you're doing is taking this idea of looking at the daily swing or technical trend thesis and applying it to your intraday on certain days. Maybe not every day is energy up overall, but there are definitely periods where if the energy market is expanding, if it has already pulled back to moving average or trend line support, and then finding those candidates on the session, those are often, facilitative events inside of your intraday trade. Now, when we look at some of our larger sectors, we start to think about this in a similar way, but we notice different types of structures. For one, if we look at just the XLK or tech, we notice a lot of similarities with the S&P. We came from an all-time high last year, and we started to sell at the beginning of the quarter. We had a extended corrective phase into the middle of March, and then this market started to breach its downtrend and reclaim some of the sell. You'll even notice that more recently, the XLK rejected in a very similar location to the S&P, where this double top resistance and basically the weekly high is acting as the same resistance point as the XLK. And this shouldn't surprise anyone because the XLK is a big component of the S&P. It's about 27 to 28%. So if this sector looked or acted differently than the S&P, that would be some divergence. That would be something to review in regards to ways to take advantage of that difference in technical performance. So All in all, if you want to trade tech, what you could even claim is that if tech is up or down on the session, I also can trade the S&P and have a similar experience. I can also look for similar trade ideas. If I'm not trading the S&P itself, I can once this establishes, maybe look to tech. For example, fading from this high, or even looking for profit zones in regards to where tech ends up heading. So for example, if you're carrying bullish from the lows, you might have started to profit take last week as tech was hitting its resistance. And then we have stuff like healthcare, which once again looks a little different than everything else. What we have in healthcare right now is the potential for a range, and currently a range expansion. The idea here is pretty simple. The XLV has not been a trading market ever since the middle of last year. Yes, there's been some daily downtrends and daily uptrends, but structurally and theoretically, this market has not been facilitated of trend strategies except for one or two moments in time. And what you'll notice is that the XLV, or the healthcare ETF, topped out in approximately August and September of last year. We had a deeper sell swing. This is important to recognize in regards to what sort of level reached. In this case, this was trending, and the market came deep enough and corrective enough to breach back into areas where the market started to trend in the first place. Basically, this upper range here, or this range area here. So once this level and these areas of the market are established, we can start to look at things like bigger picture volume profile, which is often what we did in the IWM and other range-bound products like Amazon. You can start to theorize around, okay, is this market looking to breach the upper bound of its range? In this case, healthcare did breach, but you'll notice that similar to the IWM, it was actually a failed expansion. And what this looks like on the weekly or monthly time frames is you have the market reaching to the upside and immediately giving it back, even coming to the lower bound of our range. And that facilitates the fact that this range low is important for healthcare. Let me take this off just so you can see that failed range expansion. So when we're looking at the market currently, and when we're starting to theorize around, okay, what strategies are working right now? For one, healthcare has this potential opportunity. Either the market is ready to move forward and this range is about to break out, of which we'll see things like our 20 period starting to act as trending support, or we can have a similar case to things like the IWM, where yes, you will have expansive moves from low to high. And these are very opportunistic trades if you're in position and ready to catch that type of volatility. But in a similar sense, you can have just as expansive moves from high to low. And we've seen that before. Not only with our range-bound products, but with the idea that this is simple technical trading. It's range trading, and you're often looking for markets that are doing something similar or doing something new. In this case, healthcare might be one to watch, because if we do get something different here, as the market is trying to set up above its resistance zone, another expansive event, or even the potential for this to break out completely, might be underway. And then last but not least, let's talk about utilities. We'll look at this a bit more this week, but wanting to call out things like what's been working in utilities. And in this case, it's pretty obvious without moving averages. What's been working in utilities is buying the lows of this channel and selling the highs, basically trading it back and forth. Last week, something new happened. Not only did XLU make a new all-time high, and this is all-time highs for utilities, but this is a channel breakout. It is a closure above the channel resistance. And that's very important because it changes your perspective. It makes you focus on different types of strategies moving forward. And once again, what is the market trying to tell us here in regards to utility performance last week? Amidst all of this bullish activity kind of hitting its top end, the market is pricing utilities much higher and rushing to this set of products. So is that bullish? Is that bearish? Is it more or less a cycle in the market? And how can we prepare and trade around it? So this is going to be the theme this week. I'm going to kind of dig into this a little bit more, but for now, stay tuned for pre-market prep as we talk through the morning. As always, trade safe, and hopefully I can resolve my technical issues. But stay tuned, and we'll look at some of these ideas moving into the week. And what does it mean for Q2? What is the perspective that the market's giving? So, as always, thank you, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Just 1 second while I plug in my headphones, which I forgot to do, and we will get started. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing all right. I am worn out from the weekend. How are you?
Dude, I am tired too, man. I slept well last night, but I woke up very, very tired today. It could have been from just everything over the weekend. So, But yeah, I am exhausted as well. Guys, hopefully you guys had an amazing weekend as we start this brand new week of trading. And let's take a look at our gappers list here. Today we have Twitter leading the way and a couple of other names in here in the green this morning. A lot of the Chinese stocks also gapping up today, pretty decent. We have Neo, Baba, and a few others in that area also gapping up today. So on the gap downside, not a lot of stuff there. A couple of tickers that don't trade very well, but they are down this morning. We'll take a look at those as well. So for the most part, guys, let's give big thumbs up over to Jared for taking us through the market open, going over a couple of things there. We appreciate that very, very much. All right. With that said, guys, let's hop into the news. What do we have overall news for today?
Yeah, man. The only data we have today, factory orders, essentially at 10 a.m., a revision of the core capital equipment orders as well, but that's not a big deal. The big news people will be waiting for this week is the Fomc Minutes, insight into the discussion they had in their last meeting 2 weeks ago. They always come out 2 weeks afterward, 2 p.m. on Wednesday, so we'll see how that goes. And then, there's some Fed speakers sprinkled throughout the week. You'll see on the gappers list, there is a primary mover, and that is China. Whole lot of China up there, all on the same thing we were discussing Friday when there was some insight rumors of eased audit restrictions by the Chinese. So delisting might not be on the table. Who knows? The one outlier to that, I'm just looking down the list.
Yeah,
it's about everything's Chinese, with the exception of the top one, Twitter. Elon Musk this morning filed documentation with the SEC. I told you I'm tired, man. I'm getting my government acronyms all mixed up. With the SEC, that he has taken a 9 point something odd percent, just under 10% stake in Twitter. And that has got people thinking, is he going to get a little activist in here? And he has been critical of Twitter censoring speech that's not Democrat, left. I'm trying to not be political here, but you're going to have to touch on that just a little bit because a lot of people are critical of Twitter for censoring conservative Republican speech, and he has been one of those as well. So they're wondering if he's going to step in and do that. You'll see also DWAC, Donald Trump's new bungled social media company that has been trading like crazy over the last several months, is down. Not only have they had issues, they had word of a couple of executives leaving because of their troubled launch since mid to late February. But that's down too on the same news. So,
yeah, a lot going on for sure.
You're real quiet, buddy. I don't know if you are for anybody else, but your level is your audio level.
All right, let me check that. Test. Is that a little better? I see the volume going up now. Hopefully it's not too high. Okay. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's take a look here at our watch list for today. We're going to remove the stuff we had yesterday, Control A, Control X. And we'll get to it. Let's look at Twitter, of course, leading the way today. This thing is up 20%, as Norm just mentioned. Elon Musk there taking a couple of shares, which is got this thing popping up pretty nice this morning. Up 20%, 13.5 million. So definitely in play today. Going to keep a close eye on this one. Next, we have Becky, which I am not a big fan of, guys. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. It is up 10%, 670,000. But for the most part, I prefer to trade something else, me personally. So I'll be looking for other opportunities. And let's start here with some of the Chinese stocks. You guys know which ones I like. I like Neo. I think Neo's always been good to look at here. So they have 1.8 million shares traded. Their daily also looks very good, guys. If we remove some of these levels, you can see here how they have been setting up. Breaking out of 22 last week a couple of times. Today we're gapping up to this other level here that we have not been able to get above in some recent times. So I like the fact we're right on that level now. Neo looks very good, up 6% this morning. And another one that I don't see Baba up here today, but I know Baba is another one.
Last one.
Last one up 4%. We'll look at BABA as well. We'll put
It's
this
hard
one
to
on
believe
here.
our gap up list stops at 4%.
I know.
I mean, it just shows you the market is, and I didn't mention it, the market's essentially just dead flat this morning.
Right.
There's very little volume going on in the SPY currently. 300,000 is nothing compared to what we've seen recently with all the volatility we've had. So you've got like I said, the mover China news, because they were closed when that came out. So Hong Kong stuff spiked overnight when they opened for their Monday trading. And yet they're all up this morning on that.
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
The outlier that we already mentioned.
Everything here is Chinese. I mean, you can see China companies. I have Neo Baba, guys. You can look at other ones like JD, Futu, XPEV as well. But I'm gonna keep these two. I would like to see. I'm gonna look at Oxy. Oxy coming in here now, up 2.3. Just showed up. Oxy's another one that can trade very well. So I'm gonna keep an eye on Oxy as well. We'll throw Oxy on the main list there. All right, let's see what's gapping down. DWAG, Norm spoke about this a little bit there, down 12.6. I do like this drop here. Not the best intraday trading stock, but I gotta say they got a little bit of activity today. Might be interesting, guys. Usually I would not add this to my list, but today they're looking rather nice, especially with that catalyst, Norm. That's not good for them if executives are leaving based on not having confident what they're doing, whatever.
I think the bigger of the two parts of that is the Twitter news.
The Twitter news, right? Yeah. So I got Twitter up here as well. We'll see what DWAC does. Towards the bottom, low flow was very active last week. LGVN.
That's the whole reason he's starting this.
Is that? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he got kicked off Twitter. And so I'll start my own social media company. So if Twitter gets fixed, and people are happy using it, across the entire political thought spectrum, that's not good news. Right. I mean, what's your incentive to go over to True Social?
Yeah. So it's always so tough to do. I mean, there's so many people on Twitter to compete against them. It's just very difficult. Like, I know people that don't agree with stuff and they still won't leave Twitter, right? Because they're so engraved with their business and everything else. It's just a tough move. It really is. So,
well, as Elon Musk called it, I mean, recently he did a poll on this a few weeks ago. And he called them the de facto public square, which absolutely is true. I mean, you've got a lot of social media platforms out there, but just the format of Twitter being so short to so many people, it's hard to leave,
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And out of all of them, I think I prefer Twitter the most. It's probably the one I use the most for sure. So Twitter guys here, they're up again 20%, 14 million, definitely in play today. We'll keep a close eye on this one. Heading back to our gap down, we have LGVN here. We had a couple of pops last week on this Thursday and Friday towards the end of the week. Today they're down 7.8 with 609,000. So not sure if this thing can get going. It hasn't dropped to $9. So if we can stay above this 13.14, which is the low from Friday, that could be interesting. But right now, we're not looking pretty strong at the moment. I know a couple of you guys have been taking a hit on this one and done well. Just be careful today. Let's see if it can actually maintain some of the strength that we saw later in the week, last week. VTNR this morning, no, this is not looking good at all, guys. Down 3.3. Horrible daily, horrible price action. Just not really in play. B8X, this looks like just a couple of, not block trades, but it only has 504,000, but there's nothing happening here. I don't know. There's nothing going on.
Goldman gave them Goldman downgraded them this morning, but that having been said, it's just not very good looking.
Yeah, it's nothing going on here. All right, guys, let's take a look at our chat. But before we do that, Norm, anything you like on your end today?
I mean, the same stuff we've already looked at, really. Twitter is definitely in play. It's all I'm seeing. Like I said, the market's very dead this morning, so we'll have to see what kind of mood it's in to start the week after we start.
Yeah, it's definitely on the quieter side today, guys, on this Monday. But like you said, there's some stuff happening with the Fed, so maybe that will spark things up a little bit. We'll see. All right, let's get to our chat, guys. Let's see what you guys like this morning. Let's start with what do we have here? Scrolling down. Good morning to you guys as well. Happy Monday. And we have no tickers today, huh? Oh, you guys are pretty quiet. Okay, here we have Abi is giving us Apple, AMD, and Nvidia, so we'll look through those. Apple this morning. Yeah, see, a lot of stuff just flat. The volume on this is very low. So again, guys, it's gonna be one of those days where our list is not going to be huge, right? We got a nice tight list
The
already.
daily on Apple looks interesting, how it bounced
Yeah,
off the 9 daily. So, we'll see if it continues.
yeah, Apple does look good on the daily. I mean, only putting in 2 red
in that
days in the
consolidation
last,
range. Yeah.
so it's that's pretty good there. So I like Apple today on the daily as well. Pretty quiet pre-market right now. Hopefully that can pick up. AMD's daily is a little messy, right, compared to Apple. They do have 1 million shares traded, but that's got to be some kind of block trade because we've seen the pre-market action that AMD can put in when they have 1 million shares traded so far, and this is not it. So I'm not seeing a whole lot. Maybe a possible if it can get going, but not a whole lot going on right now. Let's take a look at Nvidia today. Same thing here, pretty quiet, pretty flat. I like their daily though, much cleaner than AMD. That's for sure. A lot cleaner. If you look at AMD, it's just kind of messy right in here. But we'll see. I'm not seeing anything great on it just yet. We'll put it on here as possible for now. Heading down, MU was very active last week, if you guys remember that. Having a couple of days where popped up and sold off pretty good here. I think the fun might be over on this, man. I think MU might just be going back to his regular trading. What was it? Was earnings, right? That popped them up. Yeah, it was earnings that got them going here, and then the markets type sell off on the tech side. Remember, the tech side sold off quite a bit last week. I don't see this being in play anymore. To be honest, I don't see anything happening.
But I agree with you. The pre-market looks terrible, but that's been pretty typical for them recently.
Yeah.
Even really on their good days, most of the time their pre-market's dead, but who knows? Probably scanners. It's probably a scanner pick.
I agree. AMC, yeah, we need a lot more from AMC. I mean, this volume is definitely not there. You want to see this stock trading heavy volume, Ross D, and that's just not showing it there. Acer popping up here. This is a lower price stock. Up 30% right now, 2.1 million. Is it a low flow, Acer?
I don't think
it is. It is? Okay. Oh, this could be interesting. If it can hold here, it could be interesting.
They got a FDA breakthrough therapy designation for a drug for a illness I'm not even gonna
try to pronounce,
pretend to know anything about.
So Acer guys here popping up 30%. Let's see if it can hold here. This could be the low flow of the day. 2 million shares traded right now. We'll keep an eye on this one. Heading down, we do have, I think, a Neo Rush Fan 2112. Neo, I do have Neo already, yeah. So Neo is on here. No, not knee. Don't look at that one. That looks horrible. That looks horrible. Here's Neo. So yeah, we have Neo up 6%, 2 million.
I'd rather trade my actual knee.
Yeah, exactly.
Not as interesting.
Yeah, that looks pretty bad there. All right, so AMC is good. I'm sorry, not AMC. Acer is good. Tesla this morning. What do we got going on? Tesla. Pretty much flat right now, guys. Again, I think we just gotta wait for this one to hit the scanners. They're gonna be getting some volume at the market open, but right now on what we have, it's just not looking all that good. Futu.
They will definitely be in play.
Yeah.
Not only do they have the background Musk thing with Twitter, which really, I mean, it doesn't affect Tesla, but it just whenever his name's spoken about, Tesla
everything,
moves.
yeah.
But they also release sales figures over the weekend too. So.
Oh, they did nice. Do we know if they did well or? Well, it looks like pretty much flat.
I didn't break it down. I don't trade Tesla all that often, but they did.
Same here. Looks like there was nothing shocking on it because again they're pretty much flat right now. Futu, Futu, you can look at that one as well. There's a couple of Chinese stocks that are popping up this morning. I'm looking at Neo and Baba, but Futu, same thing here. We're gapping up 6%, 670,000. Neo is going to be the one for me, and also Baba here. I especially like the gap up on Baba today. So we'll see where that goes. LGVN, we looked at already. GGPI, what is this? GGPI? No, this is not looking good. I do not like this pre-market action at all, guys. We talk about this quite a bit. Look at this pop you're getting here, right? Going from 11 to 14 almost, and then the drop, and then nothing is happening after this, right? It's really, really dead. So be careful on something like this. I won't be surprised. an hour later, this thing is dropping here. I won't be surprised. Just be careful. The price action, funky. I don't like this at all. Heading down here. All right. So AMD acquisition news on AMD. Oh, that could be why the volume is like that. We'll see. Twitter is good, and Baba. Yeah, Baba has been really good to me, Rasfil. I can't deny. Baba has been really, really great to trade. So we'll see what it does today. How about GE? No, no. No way. Nothing happening with GE. All right, let's take a look at our YouTube chat, guys. What do you guys have this morning? I see, what do we have here? Starbucks. A couple of people throwing out Starbucks today. Thomas, what is Starbucks doing? They are gapping down 3.7. So they must have something because these guys barely move.
The CEO left, and then the founder came back, and I think he paused his buyback, if I remember the news correctly.
Okay. That could be slightly interesting. They're tough to trade at times, but again, if they're moving like this pre-market, I'll put them here as a possible. We'll take a closer look in just a second. Ford. No, nothing happening with Ford, guys, man. This is really bad. That's very light volume for Ford too, even at this time in the pre-market. So not doing well there. Facebook's daily looks interesting, but for the most part, pretty quiet right now. We're back right at this area where we found some support after this initial drop, right? We just kept selling off. We found support right on here. This was the market just hurting it pretty bad. And then we're just back at this 230, 225, which, again, we'll see where they go from here. That's a good one to keep a close eye on. It might not happen this week, but Facebook's good there. PLX this morning. No, more of a penny stock, guys, trading under $1. Again, we don't focus on these, so just be careful. Sitting on the American Stock Exchange as well, which can trade pretty funky. Becky, I don't like Becky, but it is in play. It is up 10%, right? Now, is this a Chinese stock?
Yep.
It is? Okay. All right. So also another Chinese stock. I have Neo and Baba. No, Becky has not done anything to me. I just don't like it. I don't know what it is with Becky, man. I have no idea what's going on there. Not HDB. I'm not sure what you mean by that. LAC to extend it. LAC. The daily looks interesting, but it's not doing a whole lot right now. That's definitely not a good ticker to trade. Very light volume for intraday trading, at least.
HDB. It's been good at times in the past, but it can be tough. I don't know. This is some Indian bank. I don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade this. I mean, me personally, there's nothing happening here. There's no volume. Very, very light volume throughout the day. Even when they do get some, there's just nothing going on there. All right, guys, we'll stop here. Jay XPEV, don't want to miss you. Thanks for always tuning in, man. I appreciate you being there. XPEV, I have Neo. This is another one that looks good as well. So between Neo and XPEV, you could pick either one. I'm gonna go with Neo. Usually what I tend to go with, but you can't go wrong with XPEV as well. I think that's gonna be similar to what Neo is doing, or at least in play. All right, we'll stop here, guys. Let's go over to our community events and announcement for what's coming up this week. And then we'll come back and fine tune this list, which again, not a whole lot that looks great, but what we have looks okay.
All right. It's Monday. Quick weekly rundown. I don't know if Brian's back or not. But if he is, he'll be doing a swing trade discussion 2:30 p.m. this afternoon. Otherwise, maybe he's laying in other sarcophagi. I don't know what the terminology. So onboarding tonight, 7 p.m. with Carlos, immediately followed by Tech at 8. Trade reviews with Eamon noon, Tuesday and Thursday in the classroom. Success webinars Tuesday night. Psychology webinars Wednesday night. And you've got mentoring on Thursday with Andrew, John, Ed, Thor. We'll go through those in a second. And then Jared, crypto 11 a.m. on Friday. Look, we got Andrew saying hi on YouTube. He is in Marrakesh. Hey, buddy. Hope you're having a good one. All right. Throw it back one if you would. Jen, no, they are all on our website, bearbulltraders.com. All right. As I mentioned, onboarding every Monday, 7 p.m. This is open to everybody. So if you got the trial membership, especially, go check it out. 7 p.m. Monday. It's a good way to kick off the week and kind of learn about everything at BBT. All right. Technology. This, I think you didn't, I sent new, that's all right. Don't worry about changing it out. We got new announcements. I sent them to you earlier, but tonight you've got Kyle. He's doing a DAS Trader question and answer immediately following that onboarding webinar, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then tomorrow night, you've got How to Trade Reversals by Jared, also 8 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday is Dr. Kenneth Reed, Discipline versus Adaptability at 8 p.m. for Psychology Wednesday. And Mentorship on Thursday, 3 different times, 11, 4, and 8. Awesome. And Andrew's going to be trading from Marrakesh. Hope he has a good connection. All right, don't forget about our replay simulator, free web-based replay simulator that we have built, stocktradingsimulator.com. Go check it out if you haven't had a chance to yet. And if you're watching on YouTube and have not been in the room, first of all, you have a chance to be our 60,000th subscriber. We're just a few away from that. I think 20 away, 23 away. So that'll be exciting today. But go to barebulltraders.com, scroll down about halfway down the page, click that test drive now button, enter your info and the promo code premarket24. It'll get you a discount off the intro, which will only bill you one time. It is not a recurring payment. It lasts 7 calendar days, 5 trading days. If you want to come back, you have to choose a different membership category and sign up.
Thank you very much, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's take a look here at our list this morning. We have Twitter leading the way, looking very good, very active, definitely in play. We have Neo, we have Baba, Oxy, and also App on the list today. So not a bad list. A couple on here looking really good, starting with Twitter. So let's get some levels in here. Here we have Twitter high of the pre-market at the moment. We're looking at a 51.16. So we'll slam a level there. Slightly below that, I don't see any levels on the daily below this. Okay, we got to go to the left a little more. So here we go. We got a couple of days here. I'm going to definitely mark this one over here around 48.20. So 48.20, we'll mark that down. Above our high of our pre-market, we got a nice level here. Great support, guys, over around 53.21. So you can see that right on there. Good support area there. And then you can see that a couple of days of resistance as well. If we decide to even push higher 54.88, just in case we decide to run here. But towards the downside, below this 48.20. Below that, we got a couple of days here. We got this one here showing some good support on Twitter. And then right over here, we got major support, resistance over at 44.50. You can see plenty of that right on there as well. So those levels, as you can see in the intraday, playing a good part right now in the pre-market. We got a couple of those that we can hit if we decide to sell off this morning. Heading over to Neo today, let's get into our daily. Here we go. So Neo right now, again, up 6.3 with a lot of the Chinese stocks being up this morning. You got Neo, you got Futu, you got JD, XBEF, you got a ton, guys, so you can look at. We're going to keep a close eye on Neo and Baba. Neo right now up, pre-market high is 23.50. Above this, we do have a slightly higher level at 23.82. And then on the daily, you can see this area for Neo has been tough to get around, right? So we struggle in this early March, late February might have been right in here, and then also a couple of times already it's hitting this and just kind of slamming back down. So we'll see if we can get above that. That is a struggle area for Neo, as you can see there. 24.97 could be 25. This level here, another great area of resistance, and the next one above that we do have is 26.24. A slamming level on there as well. All right, so that is Neo. Let's take a look at Baba this morning. Baba right now, I'm going to remove some of these levels that we have here. Interesting daily, man. We had a nice little drop here. That was great. Nice pop-up. And then we're just kind of stuck here back and forth between 120 and 110 with, again, positive news, negative news, positive news, negative news. China is going to cooperate. US says that's not enough. And just all that back and forth is creating a lot of this up and down action that we've seen on these Chinese stocks. So surrounding the price action right now, you have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Your pre-market high is over at 116.21. Your pre-market low is going to be 114.36. So you got a nice range there. Outside that, towards the top, you do have 124.14. We're going to slam a level there. And then towards the bottom, you got plenty highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. There is a level in here between the pre-market low and the previous day close. Right in here around, might be 112, might actually be 113, but 112.75. You have a couple days there bouncing off of that with support, opening and closing right around that area. So again, just mark that down. That could be something for Baba as far as the level. That might not be a major level like your previous day close line. See how nice that is there, that 110. But definitely there might be some importance to that 112, 113 area. Here's Oxy, guys. Beautiful daily on Oxy. Look at just how great this thing has been trading as far as the daily. You're just kind of winding up here, slowly slamming again to the 60 area, this 59.12, which is clearly an area of resistance for Oxy. And even with the news, I think the stock, again, I don't think it follows levels as other tickers do, because it's heavily based on what the oil price market and the stuff happening in Ukraine over there, it affects the stock right directly. So, but even though with that, you can see we're making higher lows here, right, on the daily. So that is interesting the way that's setting up. Again, if it was another stock, I'll put a lot of weight into that. But this could be so reactive to just overall news, right? So, but 59.60 looking good there. Resistance area 62.38, and also not your all-time highs, but at least I think 52-week is going to be 63.25 on Oxy. And you got plenty towards the bottom, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. I don't think you need to add anything else to this one this morning. And the last one on my list is going to be Apple. Apple, what a beautiful daily as we continue to just see what it does here. Look at this beautiful bounce we had here off 172. We're pretty much flat today with the overall market as well. Looking forward to see how we're going to end the day, because we're starting this Monday pretty quiet after a lot of volatility last week. So we'll see how this plays out. Also, guys, if you missed it, check out Artie's video last week talking about some of the expected moves this week and what he's looking for. He's putting out a great video, great content, just overall market data. So really appreciate that. If you haven't done so, it's up on our YouTube channel. Definitely check it out. Couple of levels here surrounding the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days on Apple. I got 168, I got 179 towards the top, and 182.04. And I think that's all you really need. Again, Apple very clean at the moment. Flat right now, not a whole lot of volume. We'll have to wait at the market open to see how good this one is going to be. But right now, pretty quiet for the most part for what Apple can do, right? We've seen how Apple can trade, very aggressive, not doing a whole lot right now. So, all right, with that said, let's take it over to our chat room, guys. What do you guys have this morning? Any questions? We're done a little bit early today as things are pretty quiet. We don't have a laundry list to go through. What do you guys have on your end that maybe we haven't looked at? I see Thor already has his list: SPY, Baba, Twitter, Neo, and AMD. We'll wait for the other moderators to throw their lists out, and we can get to some questions today. PDD. I'm not a big fan of PDD. Let's take a look. PDD. PDD this morning. Yeah, I mean, it's capped up 8.6 right now, 792,000. Yeah, I prefer to look at other stuff, but again, this is in play. I don't think this is the best intraday trading stock for me, but it is in play. It is up nicely today with some good volume. You just gotta wait for the market open, or you're gonna get some good opportunities on this here. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Billy, yeah, Billy's another Chinese stock that I actually do like. Billy. Billy could be a good possible for me. I do have Neo and Baba here. I didn't want to be too heavy on Chinese stuff, but I don't have a whole lot on my main list. So Billy could be a good one. Starbucks too, guys. I think I'm going to move Starbucks up. I like the drop we're getting here. We're down 3.8 on 107,000, which is not a bad pre-market activity. But it's definitely different than anything else I have on my list, which would be nice to have something just different than, the regular stuff we've been looking at: tech, oil companies, energy stuff, and Chinese stuff, right? Out of this list, I think the 2 that we have not really been trading the last couple of weeks is Starbucks and Twitter, and they have their own catalysts, of course, as we discussed earlier. So nice to have something different on the list, just kind of see how that's going to play out. Billy's another Chinese stock that you can look at. Again, I'm looking at Neo and Baba for those. HD, let's see what's going on there, Tim. Do they have any news? We only really look at HD when they have some kind of news. HD right now, they're really quiet. Their daily's been taking a hit over the last couple of days, though. See that here? And we're back at a good area of support. So Interesting daily for sure on HD, but I'm not sure what's causing this drop for them. And again, they just trade so thin unless there's any news. It looks like last week they had some stuff going on here. Look at the drop last week. There's a little slight increase in volume. Was it earnings last week? Maybe. What do we got here? No, not
Negative.
earnings. I'm not sure.
Their earnings were in February.
Yes, I'm not sure what caused that drop last week, but again, just one of these tough stocks to trade, man, especially when they don't get the volume. MU, I think we have to wait for MU to get the volume. Right now, they're not looking very good, guys. They're very quiet, very flat right now. They had a couple of really good days in here, and for the most part, MU has not been trading all that well. So it's going to be tough to keep it on the list today until the market open and we see what's happening, right? It's just pretty much flat right now. No volume, so I don't see how it's one to put on our list. Roku reportedly just reached multi-year extension with Amazon. Let's see here, Roku.
Probably. Did you guys hear that on the squawk? Because I don't see it yet, but I do see it popped up just a few minutes ago.
I see that here, getting some action on Roku, some volume coming in. That's good news. We will add this to the list. There we go. What I'm going to take off today. I have one too many now, so now I got to take one off. We'll see.
JP, take that for what it's worth. Yeah.
Saw it on Twitter. Exactly. Nice. All right, so we'll see. Well, definitely something's happening there. We'll take a look at how that's going to play out. But
it's moving, but it's not on a ton of volume, so be really careful with that one.
Yeah. I like their daily here, getting a nice pop off 125. You got the highs and lows surrounding the action here. I'm not going to mark the high of the pre-market just yet. Let's give it a little bit, but I will mark this level here, 139.32. We'll slam a level there, and we'll see where this goes. Towards the top, you have another level here as well, around 145, and we'll see. We'll see what it does here, guys. But yeah, not a whole lot of volume right now. Only 83,000. We need a little bit more than that, so let's give it a little bit of time. News on Twitter: Elon Musk took about a huge position. I think it was on the 14th, right? Because this stuff is reported when the reports come out. I forgot what report it was.
Reported this morning.
It was reported this morning, but he purchased these. He purchased these like March 14 or something.
It was probably over a period of time. But he's taken a stake in Twitter. It was reported this morning. It's just under 10%, which is a significant. There is significance in that. Won't dig into it right now, but So they're hoping maybe he can go fix Twitter.
Yes. So stock is up 21%, guys. 18 million shares traded, which is great for Twitter. That's amazing volume. Definitely in play this morning, guys. We'll be looking to that. Do we look at Airbnb? You know what? Airbnb is not a great intraday trading stock for me. Even when it has earnings, I don't, or not earnings, just any catalyst, I don't look at it. The volume on it is so light, guys. So I just, though these stocks that don't get great volume, their spread tends to be a little bit nasty. Also, just their price action is funky compared to like a Twitter, AMD, Neo, Baba, Apple. When they're in play, when they got volume, you could tell the big difference in the way they move, and not just lower price stocks, right? Because Nvidia, which is a higher price stock, more than Airbnb, it can move very well when it has good volume, right? Airbnb doesn't do that. They don't get that type of volume. So for me, that's a no right there on that one. So, but right now though, aside of that, I don't see anything good on it either. Pre-market, there's nothing calling us out saying this stock is in play unless you have any kind of earnings. Good morning, Andrew. Andrew's logging into the chat here. I'm sure he's checking his connection. Hopefully the connection is good, and he'll be trading live from Marrakesh this morning. How the legs feeling, Andrew? How the legs? How the knees?
Can't even imagine.
Can you walk? Can you walk, or are you being wheeled around in a wheelchair? What's going on?
He was supposed to be back in Vancouver, but he's stuck in Marrakesh because his legs quit working. Oh,
absolutely. Oh, nice. Yeah, I got to get a massage in. Absolutely. Can't wait to hear all about it. He's not coming back. Excellent. All right, guys, we got a couple of minutes before we hop into our moderators list. Anything as far as questions that we can answer? It doesn't have to be stock related as far as tickers, but anything overall trading related. Which volume range do you prefer? Which volume range do you prefer? You gotta be a little more specific on what you mean volume range.
We just want to see. I don't know that there's a range. We want to see a lot of volume.
Yeah. You can't put a range on it because it's different per stock too, right? I mean, for example, Starbucks today, this 110 for Starbucks, that's a lot of volume free market. These guys don't get volume. For AMD, for Apple, this is horrible volume. This is basically nothing, right? So it depends too on the stock that you're looking at.
Gemini Horse is asking, what's the best news source for day trading? I mean, if we could have a Bloomberg terminal, that would be fantastic, but we don't. So, I use it. I'm just joking there, but ton of different news sources because they get news at different times. I'll to go over and prep for the day, I'll often use FinViz. That's a good one to start with. We have Benzinga Squawk in the room, which is excellent and very timely with the Squawk, the audio feature where they call out the news as it comes through. So anyway.
Yep, agree. Tesla, Twitter, we're looking at good NVIDIA. I have NVIDIA here as a secondary as well. Getting a little bit of a pop there. Yeah, we're looking good, guys, today. All right, we'll wait for our moderators to throw some tickers out. I see a few coming out now, and then we'll hop over to our chat. I want to give Andrew enough time to try out his setup, and also I'm sure give him enough time to fill us in on what it's been like over there. So we might cut it just a few minutes, maybe a few minutes early on our pre-market here. But we'll wait for the moderators to throw out some tickers, then we'll look at what's going on there, and then we'll
Somebody's
hop over
asking what your monthly fees look like over on YouTube, which is a good question. I'll say
monthly,
this. There's obviously in the last few years, zero commission trading has really had a huge impact. We don't use that. I think Ed has DAS hooked to one of his accounts, TD Ameritrade, which is zero commission, but he's paying for DAS, which is anywhere from $150 to a couple $100 a month. But you can't be cheap. You got to have the best tools. You got to pay for the best tools. I'm messing around with Bookmap right now, which is not an inexpensive program at all. But I'm seeing some interesting stuff there. It's you can make it as expensive as you want to. Realistically, you have to at least spend some on there. Like one thing you mentioned is journal fees. I pay for journaling software, and it's not that bad. I think it's $30 a month. That having been said, I mean, you really could do just about the same thing in Excel or what OneNote some people use. You could get a pad and pencil, and it would cost, less than a penny a day for some graphite out of a pencil. So it really is as much or as little as you want.
Yeah.
But you can't cheap out and not spend on some of the tools.
Yeah. We talk about this on our onboarding class, guys. It comes down to really, just get the tools that's going to support you getting the job done. That's it. Don't look for the tools and then try to trade a certain style. Find out the way you need to trade, then get the tools that are going to help you do that. And sometimes those tools are not going to be free. I mean, you can't trade like Andrew on Robinhood. It's just not going to work. And there's nothing wrong with Robinhood. It's just not going to work. And can you intraday trade with TOS? Yes, we have members that use Thinkorswim and they're saving on commission and they can trade with that. But I guarantee you, they're not trading like Andrew. They're not trading like Thor. They're not trading like Norm. They're not trading like that because that platform is not going to support that. There's nothing wrong with that platform. It's just you have to look at the style of trading you want to do and then get the tools that's going to support that. So that's the way you have to do it. And sometimes that means coughing up a couple of dollars here and there. All right, guys, we're gonna look at our moderators lineup here. Let's go ahead and resize this. As we're doing this over on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much as we start our week. Film me in, brother. Film me in.
Runs has the comment of the day, by the way. I can't trade like Andrew on any platform.
That's a good one. The guy is amazing. No question. All right, guys, here it is. IPOs for today, none, no SPACs, neither. Thor is looking at the SPY, Baba, Twitter, Neo, and AMD. Peter's looking at AMD, Apple, and Oxy. Secondary list, Twitter and Baba. Megan is looking at Twitter and Apple. Dima, Twitter, Baba, Apple, and AMD this morning. Tiffany, Twitter, Neo, and Baba. And Eamon, potential longs for today, Apple and IWM. And he'll be looking at Gil and POTR. So no potential shorts for Eamon this morning. Susan will be taking care of Baba and Oxy, looking at also Neo, Twitter, and AMD and Tesla. And Andrew's list today, after not trading for a while, Twitter, Baba, Neo, Apple, and AMD. So no pressure at all, my friend. All right, guys, we are all set. Thank you so much over on YouTube for joining us this morning. We're sitting at 170 likes. Wow, my friends. What's happening? You guys falling asleep there? Hey, what's going on?
The market.
No. Come on, guys. Come on. We could do better than that. Let's get to 250. We appreciate it very much. We will see you guys tonight on the onboarding class. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a good one. Trade safe.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.